for you. You're not in a nursing home. I know you at least stopped by at least one hospital on your way here. That's a reason to give them a good Shabbat. Come on, Shabbat the Lord. Come on, Shabbat the Lord in this house. Oh, the Bible says that praise is common to the upright. Is there any upright people in the house today? Come on. I said, is there any upright people in the house today? Come on. Let me see all the hands of the upright people in the house of the Lord today. Come on. Glory to God. Come on and bless him. Glory to your name, Jesus. Glory to your name, Jesus. Come on, God. We're not going to stop right there. This ain't no funeral. Y'all know how we do it when I come. We're going to smash the enemy head and bruise his heel. Come on. Shabbat the Lord in this place today. Glory to God. Come on, Shabbat him. Do I need to come down? Well, maybe if I come down, I can get some more help. Come on, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat the Lord. Come on, Shabbat the Lord. Hallelujah. Come on and Shabbat him this morning. Oh, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Glory to the Lamb of God. Glory. Oh, God. Deliverance in the name of Jesus. Deliverance. This woman came for some answers today. She came for some deliverance. Come on, Agape. Let's praise God for the name of the Lord for this woman. We prophesy by the end of this service, your life shall never be the same. We speak those things that be not as though they were, so that they might be. Come on, y'all. Let's put our hands together for Jesus. Hallelujah. You're looking at me this morning, but I feel fire. I told my husband, I said, honey, I'm tired. I'm away up there, and I said, I don't even feel like preaching. I said, I'm just tired in my body. I've been preaching for 4 weeks straight without a break, literally. And here I am again. But by the time I hit that door, I felt the fire of the Lord down in my belly. I'm telling y'all, the Lord is here. The Spirit of God is here. And he's here to deliver you and get answers to everything that you have need of. How many of you believe that by the end of this service, that God is going to show up in your situation? There's going to be a 24-hour miracle for somebody in this place today. Come on, put your hands together and shout, glory! Thank you, Jesus. Before you take your seat, I just need you to greet about 500 folk and tell them he's glorified today. I'm prophesying that right there. Come on. I said, before you take your seat, hug somebody and say, he will be glorified today. Thank you, Jesus. That's something Pastor John would say, 500 people. Hallelujah to the Lamb. Oh, glory to God. Thank you, Jesus. I feel the Spirit of God. I'm telling you, before I got down here, Suzanne, I was tired. And I tried to get that old complaining demon. Y'all know that old complaining demon that you get? But man, by the time I got to that door, I looked at my husband. I said, baby, I think I'm ready to preach. Woo! Good God from Zion. Hallelujah! Thank you, Jesus. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Just want to thank God for Pastor John and Karen in their absence. I keep a communication open with the man and woman of God. They called me and asked me, will I be available on the 16th? And regardless of what I had doing, I would always drop what I'm doing when Pastor John and Karen called me. Amen? So let's thank God for your leaders. Come on. They are out at a conference, which you all know. They're out at a conference. And sometimes you got to understand that your leaders need to be poured into. So when leaders go out like that, they may be going because this is something that they're used to doing, but also at the same time, when they go out like that, that don't mean it's break time, but that means that this is our time to get poured back into. So when they come back, they can be even more on fire for you. Amen? Let's thank God. God for Pastor John and Kim. I also want to thank God for the ministerial staff here. I want to thank God for you, and as always, your hospitality is over the top. I want to thank God for you, but I also want to thank God for a friend of mine that I went to, third grade with? Is it at least third grade, Suzanne? At least third grade. Stand to your feet, you all. Come on. I want you to stand to your feet for my friend. Her name is Suzanne. I've been knowing her for at least over 30 years. Amen. And she called me. She said, Naya, she said, you know that church that you go down there to? She said, I want to go down there. I'm going to allow her to come back at another time where she can meet Pastor Karen and Pastor John, because she's looking for a place of worship. Amen. She stays in Waco, but she's used to being down in this area. And she said to me, do you know any churches down in this area? I said, I know the perfect church for you down in this area. And I told her, I said, when Pastor Karen and John get back, I'm going to officially introduce her to them. So thank God that she came all the way down from Waco, Texas to be with us today. We want to thank God. Suzanne, I love you. And also, I want to thank God for Miss Deidre. Y'all stand up, Miss Deidre. Miss Deidre, stand up. Miss Deidre's been with me a long time from the days back when I was pastoring in the Austin area. And she's here with me today. You guys have never met her, but we'll be seeing more over this season. And I just want to thank God for her. She came all the way from Austin. Come on, y'all. Let's put our hands together for her. And last but not least, let's put our hands together for my husband, Brother Paul. Listen, I don't know how he does it. Women, you can attest to that. Sometimes I don't know how our husbands put up with us. But I thank God for my husband, because I believe that he's been anointed and called by God literally to be with me. I mean, he's literally anointed to be with me, honestly, literally. Everywhere that we go, people pray over us and tell my husband, you know, you got to be a strong man to deal with this woman of God. And there's nothing weak about my husband. So I want to thank God for my husband that helps keeps me in line and help me to stay focused on what I need to be focused on. Let's put our hands together for my husband. Listen, I'm not going to be before you long today. I'm going to preach strong, but I'm not going to preach long. Amen? Because I know this house, you guys, are full of the Word of God. If I don't know anything else about this house, I know that you guys are full of the Word of God. Pastor John is fueled with divine revelation, and I know that you guys are full. So I'm going to preach strong, but I am not going to preach long. Stand with me real quick, if you will, and go with me to Matthew chapter 9. Matthew chapter 9. And if I can get somebody to read for me verse 17 through 24.
Saw her, he said, daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. And when Jesus came to the ruler's house and saw the minstrels and the people making noise, he said unto them, give place, for the maid is not dead, but sleepeth. And they laughed him to scorn.
Amen. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Now listen, before we talk about that, I just want to kind of y'all know I'm going to walk and talk just for a little bit, and I'm going to kind of lay the foundation a little bit of some of the healings that was taking place with Jesus and the different people that he healed before we actually get to our text today. Because I woke up about 1 o'clock. Actually, I hadn't really been asleep, but I kind of took a doze off. And I was going to teach today on the pecking order, the order of the pecking order. And the Spirit of God woke me up out of that little sleep or nap, whatever I took. And he told me, he said, I want you to deal with the people's faithfulness. Let me say it again. He said, I want you to deal with the people of God's faithfulness list. And I believe that we're in a time now in a generation that everything that is going on around us, we see the people of God's faith begin to go under. At the end of 2017, I did a live Facebook with the woman of God. And on that live broadcast, what she wanted me to do is give the word of the Lord for 2018. And I began to go and give the word of the Lord for 2018 and some of the things that God was showing me for 2018. And one of the things that I said that there is going to be a very, very, very high level of suicide among leadership in 2018. Now, as I've done my study and I've looked at the statistics based upon that particular statistic right there, I think they have already calculated there have already been 40 men, not women, but 40 pastors, lead pastors, that have already committed suicide in 2018. When we see our men and women of God that have been in ministry 10 and 15 and 20 years and they're killing themselves, that means that there's a lack of faith going on somewhere. And it has to do with faith. It has nothing to do with anything else. I believe it's depression. I believe it's oppression. I believe that there's a whole bunch of things that are going on that can cause this faithfulness to take place, but the root is faithfulness. Men and women of God are closing their doors now because of numbers. The numbers aren't up in our churches right now. People are leaving our churches by the drove because life is happening and their faithlessness, and they don't have enough strength in order to focus. Depression is taking over the people of God. And I just want to deal real quick before we deal with the woman with the issue of blood. Perhaps maybe I can let you guys see it another way, but I just want to talk just about a few of the issues that Jesus dealt with before we even get to the woman with the issue of blood. One of the things that I want to talk about is about the man that brought his son to Jesus. Do y'all remember that? Now, I'm going to be doing a lot of paraphrasing. Y'all know the stories. You're going to have to keep up with me. The man that brought his son to Jesus. Do you remember that? He brought his son to Jesus because his son had an issue. And Jesus asked him, how long had your son been like this? And the man began to tell Jesus, he's been like he is since he was a little boy. So first of all, we see in the text that there were a lot of issues that were taking place. But with this particular boy, he had been like he was a long time. And the Spirit of God spoke to me. He said, some of you in here, you have some issues that you've been like you are for a long time. Because this boy, he had a deaf and a dumb spirit. And when I looked up the deaf and dumb spirit, a deaf and a dumb spirit has something to do with not being able to talk. And usually when we see a person, sometimes we see it through children, sometimes we see it through adults, but normally when we deal with a deaf and a dumb spirit, when we see people that cannot talk, it normally has something to do with their hearing. Am I right about it? So this little boy, from when he was a child, he could not talk. But I guarantee you, not only could he not talk because he had a deaf and a dumb spirit, I guarantee you he could not hear. So he had this issue since he was a child. And so Jesus asked him, well, what's the deal here? He said, he's been like he is since a child. He's been like he is a long time. And God spoke to me about me. He told me to tell you, some of y'all have been like you are a long time. You've been like you are a long time. And the issue is not so much that, you're not crossing all your T's and you're not dotting all your I's, because we all at some point, we don't cross all of our T's and we don't dot all of our I's. But something is going on in the text, because When we begin to travel down in the text, we'll see he'll begin to rebuke them because he'll say, you won't faithless generation. How long do I have to be with you? In other words, how long do I have to still show you that I'm your God? How long do I have to still show you that I'm going to heal you? And so what happened is, before he asks him, how long has he been like he is? The Bible talks about how the man, when he brought his son to Jesus, but before he brought his son to Jesus, we know that it's been like he is for a long time. But before he even brought his son to Jesus, we see that the man takes his son to the disciples. He takes his sons to the disciples. Now, the thing that puzzles me is this right here. You're taking your son to the disciples and they can't even heal him. The disciples can't even heal him. You mean to tell me the disciples that been with Jesus can't heal the man's son? Something is wrong with that picture. We are dealing with a faithless people, and we've been like we are a long time. And God wants to raise your expectation of your faith in this place today. Because how it is that you've been with Jesus 20 years, let's just paraphrase, how I've been preaching for 21 years, I use my own self, how it is that I've been believing God and walking with Jesus for 21 years, but I have a hard time believing that he's going to deliver my son. We've been with him for so long, but we have a problem with believing that Jesus is going to do what he said he's going to do in our life. We've been like we are so long, it has become a way of life. And some of you have some issues in here today that it's become a way of life to you. It's become a way of life. It has become a part of your nature now. It has become a part of your everyday living that you are going to decide, or you have already decided, that I'm going to be stuck in this infirmity that I'm in. These disciples, they was with Jesus. You mean all the miracles that they seen him do? You mean all the things that he did on his way to Calvary? And you mean to tell me y'all seen him heal? You've seen him set free. You've seen him deliver. And you don't have enough strength to cast out a spirit out of a child? He's dealing with the disciples in this matter because that's almost like a hit upon the body of Christ. That is an embarrassing situation that we've been with God. We pray. We read our Bibles. We come to church in and out. We come to church on Sunday. We come to church on Sunday night. We come to church on Wednesday. We have Bible band. We have Bible study. We have prayer meetings. We have healing services. We have prophecy lines. And you mean to tell me we still can't deal with the issue that is at hand? We still have lack of faith to believe that God is going to heal our children. We still have lack to believe that God is going to heal our body. We still have lack to believe that God is going to impregnate me. Some of y'all been waiting to have babies. This woman right here. By now, we ought to have enough faith, not just for us, but we ought to have faith for our partner. We ought to have faith for our family. Have enough faith for our friends. That God's word is the same yesterday and forevermore. I'm just dealing with our faith for a few minutes here before we get to where we're going. He told Jesus, everywhere else that I take him, he's ripping these people apart. I know I'm paraphrasing pretty much. Everywhere else that I take them to get some help, I took them to the disciples. They couldn't do it. I took them over here. They couldn't do it. Everywhere I take them, this boy is ripping these people sore. Well, perhaps, maybe, he started off taking his son to the wrong people to begin with. Amen. Just like the woman with the issue of blood. She went and took her problem to everybody. And that's what God began to speak to me about these pastors and leaders. They're taking their problems and depending upon the membership to be what it needs to be. They're looking at the numbers. Testament, he told him, he said, you're going to get in trouble because you're counting numbers. Remember? You're going to get in trouble. You're counting numbers. Perhaps these leaders are believing and taking their issues everywhere else but to Jesus. They depended upon the deacons to make it happen. We depended upon the prayer leaders to make it happen. We depended upon the pastor and the pastor's wife to make it happen. We depended upon the prayer person. We depended upon the prophet to make it happen. But perhaps today we need to decide that we are no longer going to take our problems to everybody else before we take our problems to Jesus. Because in the text, we can see the parallel where everybody else was included before Jesus was included. So shall it was with the woman with the issue of blood. She had spent her money on everything. She had went to all the doctors. She had went to all the prophets. I'm paraphrasing. Y'all know I'm inserting and outserting. I'm exogen and isogen. I'm taking out and putting in. Perhaps she took her money to all of the doctors. Perhaps she took her money to all of the prophets. Perhaps she took even her money to her pastor. Maybe she even took her money to her first lady. And she still could not get a response. And the Spirit of God told me to tell you today to deal with your faithfulness. Your faithfulness, because you don't have enough faith to believe that if you take your problems to God, He's going to deliver you out of every last one of your destructions. You need to make a mental challenge today to say, you know what? When it's time for me to get into these obscure situations, I'm not going to get on the phone and call Sister Watermelon. That's the problem. You've been getting on the phone trying to get somebody else to touch and agree with you. Now, there is a principle in touching and agreeing. If you touch and agree with somebody else, we already know that it's already done, right? But perhaps maybe you should go to the Father and ask Him, are you touching and agreeing with the wrong person? Because it said, if two or you touch and agree upon anything, it shall be done. Maybe you're not touching and agreeing with another you. Let me say that again. If two of you touch and agree upon anything, then it shall be done. Maybe you should go to the Father and ask Him to give you another you. In other words, give me somebody else that believes like I believe. Give me somebody else that prays like I pray. Give me somebody else that believes the word of the Lord. Because perhaps you're agreeing with somebody that's in doubt. You need another you. If two or you touch and agree, you need another you. Stop touching and agreeing with folk that don't have your faith. You call somebody up and ask them, I need you to touch and agree with me. My son is on drugs. Oh, you know, my only son died from it. You ain't another me that you don't believe like I believe. Maybe that's the problem. We've been touching and agreeing with folk that don't know nothing about what God has spoken to our destiny. Maybe that's the problem. We're touching and agreeing with folk that don't believe God the way I believe God. Maybe we're touching and agreeing with folk that want you to have some mishaps. Maybe you need to pray to the Father about who to touch and agree with first. Because you're jumping on the phone trying to get somebody to agree with you, and while you get them to agree with you, they're disagreeing with you in their spirit. We get on the phone and don't even consider God. I'm in this season, y'all. I ain't playing no games with Satan. And not only that, I'm not playing no games with who Satan is using. If you ain't talking my language, we can't be in fellowship this season. If you ain't talking my language, we ain't going to be in agreement this season. I got some stuff that I need to do, and my faithfulness has stopped me and prohibited me from moving in the next dimension that God has for me. He takes the son to him. He asks him, how long has he been in this condition? That's deep today, y'all, just fundamental principles. He takes his son, he tells him, asks him how long has he been like this. He told him, he's been like that he is a long time. Jesus began to rebuke him and tells him, you faithless generation. Don't you believe that all things are possible to them that believe? Yeah. To y'all, it looks like a small matter, but when you've been dealing with something a long time, most of us can accept things when it's just private. But how do we accept things when they've been like they are a long time? It tends to be some faithfulness there. My son has been vexed and with this spirit a long time. I can kind of see maybe where his faith began to start dwindling. But the fact that they had already had preordained experiences with the divine, they shouldn't be faithless. Faithfulness. You got to look at it twofold. Yeah, I can kind of see why maybe his faith wasn't where it needed to be. But then at the same time, walking with Jesus the way they had walked with him, I can also see why he sent out a rebuke, because even though something has been like they are at time, God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He's going to bring about a deliverance. And while you're waiting a long time for him to do what he said he's going to do, your only explanation is to worship him and to praise him. Who am I talking to in this house today? I said, while you've been waiting on the Lord to do something a long time for you, you need to heighten up your praise. You need to heighten up your worship. You need to heighten up your prayer life. You need to heighten up your word life. The woman, the same thing. To touch Jesus, I guarantee you, to touch Jesus at the hem of his garment, I believe this was a natural thing. But I also believe it is a spiritual principle at the same time. She naturally touched the hem of his garment, ma'am. But it's a spiritual principle that if we don't learn how to touch him in prayer, then we ain't going to get no results. If we don't know how to get in the word and touch him through the word instead of waiting on the word, y'all not talking back yet, instead of waiting till we get to church on Sunday to hear a word, we've already been in the word to receive the word. Who am I talking to? So when you get to church, the man and woman of God is bringing confirmation about the word you already received when you was at home. She expended everything. Ain't you guys tired of dispensing everything you have to people and still no results? I'm going to come down your road today because I can already tell by the Spirit of God, some of y'all it's time to shut this thing down. But before I leave, I want to deal with some of y'all's faithfulness. He said, you faithful generation, don't you know that all things is possible to them that believe? I know you've been believing God for a long time. I know it looks like it's not going to get better, but don't you know to them that believe all things are possible? And the Lord sent me here today to let you know that you are living in the realm of possibilities now, because I'm going to deal with my faithfulness. And he told the man, watch this, we are dealing in the realm now of all things are possible. About 5 of y'all that just went over your head. Let me say it again for about 3 of y'all that like a little bit of teaching now. You are now living in the realm of all things are possible. That means any minute my situation can change. That means even maybe by the time I get home, things can change. Oh God, maybe things are changing in the service right now. Maybe you're going to get the phone call you've been waiting on for 3 months. Who am I preaching to? Maybe you're going to get the results from the doctor. When you go back, they can't find no cancer. Maybe maybe I'm living in the realm of the impossible. Just maybe, just maybe, if I deal with my faithfulness, just maybe, God is getting ready to change that thing. Oh, good God. Just maybe. Oh, Shetaya. Just maybe, Sutaya. Oh, Shetaya. Just maybe, this week something gonna happen. Just maybe. The phone call I've been waiting on gonna happen. Just maybe. My son gonna come home. Just maybe. The woman with the issue of blood got a revelation. Ooh, Shetaya. Ooh, Shetaya. Maybe some of y'all need a revelation. You need a revelation that the other stuff ain't working. I got to change up my game plan. I got to change up the way I've been doing stuff. The way I've been doing stuff that ain't helping me. The way I've been going, my things ain't working. Just maybe now if I take my issue to Jesus and send it to people, you can get some response. Watch here now. I'm almost done. Watch. He told them, after he rebuked them about what they need to be doing and their faithfulness and all that, this whole faithful generation, the man said to him, "Sir, I believe, but help me in my unbelief." Oh, God. I'm going to park right here for a few minutes because God about to get all of us right here. Nothing deep today. I told y'all these are just fundamental things that the Lord woke me up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning and said, deal with this faithful generation. They're losing their faith in me. They're committing suicide. They're walking away from the house of God. They're leaving their ministries. They're closing the door down because lack of faithfulness. You faithless generation, I rebuke you is what he's telling us. I might look a little strange, y'all, because I've been up all night wrestling. Oh, shine. Sir, I believe is what he's telling them after the rebuke, right? I believe, but help me in my unbelief. Some of y'all been like you are a long time. You dispensed everything that you had, taken it to other people. You ain't got nothing left but your faith. And now you're saying, I believe. And this is where grace steps in at. I believe, but help me in my unbelief. Be honest. I don't care who you are. Everybody that's under the sound of my voice, everybody got something that they just can't believe God for. Everybody in here that's under the sound of my voice, you all have something that you just can't believe God for. You can believe God for him to heal your auntie, but you can't believe him to heal you. Who am I talking to in this place? You can believe God to get somebody else on off drugs, but you just can't believe God to get you off drugs. You can believe somebody else that God is going to heal them of cancer, but you just can't believe that he's going to heal you of cancer. I come to let you know today, as a prophet of God, God told me to tell you, if you can just press in today and press into that dimension where you say, God, I give you everything. I've got some things about me and my family that I just can't believe. God, help me in my weakness. I believe you for this, God, but I can't believe you for that. I got some things, God. I got some things, God, in my weakness, in my frailty, in my humanity. Yes, I'm humanity, but I'm wrapped in divinity. Oh, Shetai. Oh, God. God, I believe you for this, that, and the other. But I've hit a springboard in my walk with you. I've hit a wall in my walk with you. I've been like I am a long time. And it's just hard for me to believe in this situation that you're going to bring me out. Oh, God, I've been like this in this situation a long time. But God, I just have a hard time believing you're going to heal my son of this deaf and dumb spirit. Oh, God, God, you go sit down. believe for my friend, but I don't think you can do it for me. Oh, shit, pastor's been preaching it. Our woman of God has been saying it. But God, I just don't believe in this matter. God, I believe that you're going to do it for my sister. And I see the evidence in it. As a matter of fact, I touched and agreed with her. But it just don't seem like you're going to do it for me. Oh, God, help me. Help me in my weakness. Help me in my humanity. God, this is where your grace steps in. God told me to tell you, it's some stuff that you can't believe God that it's not that you feel he can't do for you. God told me to tell you that his grace is sufficient. Who am I preaching to? Because in the text, he still delivered this man's son, and the man was honest with him. Help me in thy unbelief. But I hear the Spirit of the Lord say today to tell you that his grace is stepping in. He gonna do it anyway. I said he gonna do it for you anyway. The stuff that you can't believe that God gonna do, he told me to tell you that his grace is stepped in, and he gonna do it anyway for you. Don't worry about it. Just keep pressing in. Don't worry about it. His grace is sufficient. He's still gonna bring you out. He's still gonna bring your family out. He's still gonna bring your children out. Who am I preaching to? I said stand up and begin to give God praise. Don't worry about what you can't believe God for. His grace is sufficient. Oh God, I feel something about to shift now. I feel something about to shift now. You gotta be like the woman with the issue of blood. Don't sit down. I need y'all to push me because I'm a little feeble in my strength right now. Come on, put your hands together and start pushing me. Oh God, just like the woman with the issue of blood, you gotta get sick and tired of feeling like you are, and you're gonna have to get that press in your spirit. I'm gonna rebuke everybody that ain't got a press in their spirit today. I charge you today by the Spirit of God. I charge you to get a press in your spirit today. I'm pressing through my unbelief. I'm pressing through my sickness. I'm pressing through my illness. I'm even pressing through my unbelief. If I can just touch him, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, his grace is sufficient. He's still going to bless me. He's still going to deliver me. He's still going to set my boy free. He's still going to heal my body. He's still going to make a way out of no way. He's still going to give me the money I need. He's still going to send my kids through college. I'm surprised. Who am I preaching to? I said, stand up and shout glory. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. I come to tell you today, God, he's still going to do it. If Pastor John and Karen ask her what I preach about, you tell them he's still going to do it. He's still going to do it. He's still going to make a way out of no way. I know you've been struggling a long time with this issue, but I am a prophetic symbol today, and he's still going to do it. I know you've been wrestling with it a long time, but I'm a prophetic sign today. He's still going to deliver you. If he's spoken and decreed over your life, I know you've been waiting a long time to see her, but he's still going to do it. God, I believe you to raise up other people's businesses, but I got a problem with believing you don't give me millions for mine. You might not be believing for it all, but I come to tell you as a prophet of God, he's still going to do it. Who am I preaching to today? Stand up yourself today. God, I need something to shift. I need something to happen. Been making prophetic declarations for a long time. I even got my dream board up. I've been speaking to my dream board. God, I even got the report from the doctor. And I put it on my refrigerator and I'm going against what the doctor has said. I'm looking at my bank account and it's still not enough to fulfill the plan and purpose of God that He has for my life. I got a picture of my son. God, you still going to deliver my son. Everybody else around me is having babies. I believe God, I'm going to get pregnant. Some folks can wait 12 years. The pastor in the back, the young lady, waited 12 years. And everybody around her looked like they're vexing her soul because it's almost as if everybody else keep having a baby. I'm having baby showers for it, and I believe God for my own Shekinah, the girl that's in there at the back. At this point, I can't even believe. But knows He still cast that spirit out of the man's boy. Because that's God's grace that was letting the man know, I understand your humanity even though we're wrapped in divinity. And God sent me here today as a prophet of God to let you know that He's still going to do it. All you got to do is be like the parallel in the text with the woman with the issue of blood. If you keep your press, I hear the Spirit of God saying, by the end of the year, some of you going to testify that He did it for you. I'm telling you, by the Spirit of God, He told me to tell you, if you keep your press in your spirit, by the end of the year, you're going to testify that He did it for you. He going to do it for you, Suzanne. He going to do it for you. You're going to call me up and you're going to testify that He did it for you. He going to do it for you, woman of God. That by the end of the year, there's some stuff that you just having a problem with believing. And you've been believing a long time, but God is said to tell you, you're going to testify that He did it. You're going to testify. You're going to testify of the thing that you ain't told nobody. You're going to testify of the thing that you've been holding dear to you. And it's been like it is a long time, but He told me to tell you that His grace praise the devil. You're going to test at the time. I hear the Spirit of the Lord saying, you've been like Daniel, that you're also tired. I hear the Spirit of God saying, woman, that you've been like Daniel, and it looks like your prayers have been hindered by the second dimension. But I hear the Spirit of the Lord saying, the prince of Persia can't hold your prayers no longer. You're going to testify by December the 21st that God's grace and mercy is sufficient. Oh my God. Oh, shit. I've been watching you. You have such a pure heart toward God. And there's some prayers, there's two things in particular that you have before the Lord. I hear the Spirit of God saying, God is going to deal with those issues. I hear the Lord saying, because of your heart, and because not of your faithfulness, but because of your faithfulness. I hear the Lord saying, by December the 31st, God is going to move on your behalf, and He's moving every torturing spirit that have tried to torture you in your mind, that have tried to kill your emotions. The Spirit of the Lord told me to tell you that the cycle is being broken right now. By the Spirit of God is broken, said the Spirit of God is broken, said the Spirit of God. That battle is over, and you're going to testify that if it had not been for the Lord who's on your side, where would you be? Come on, I got you. Put your hands together and shout glory. Go back to your seat, and on your way to your seat, you're praising God as a symbol that even in my unbelief, He's still gonna make a way out of nowhere. Come on, praise God. Praise Him on your way back to your seat. And it is so. I said, and it is so. Glory to God, this teacher. Glory to God. Glory to God. Listen, I'm going to close. You know, when I started reading this text, you know, we read this over and over and over repetitively. You know, the stories, we know the healing. You know, the manifestation. Anybody who went to Sunday school knows these stories. But perhaps today God wanted to remind us. I woke up last night in the middle of my sleep, or whatever that word is, my nap, I guess. And the Lord began to start bringing my son to me. I hadn't seen my son in weeks. He'd be 21 years old. About a week and a half. I hadn't seen him in so long. I told my husband, I said, honey, I'm inboxing him. I'm texting him. He won't call back. He won't respond. I'm going on Instagram. I can see where he's been active, but he won't respond back to me. Told my husband a couple of weeks back, I had a vision that somebody pulled up to my house and threw my son on my porch and he was dead. I said, God, I've preached almost 21 years. I've seen other people's children be set free and delivered by my own ministry. I've been one of my parents to go over before they died. I preach, pray, prophesy, I teach. I've been preaching almost 4 weeks straight. People being delivered, the glory of God dropping in buildings and places. People inboxing, texting me, telling me, woman of God, what you said come to pass. Woman of God, I've been healed. Woman of God, I've been set free and delivered. And I'm seeing other people be delivered. But God, I need for you to help me to believe that you're going to do something with my own stuff. You know, it's funny because preachers don't tell you that before we can deliver a message to you, it has to hit us first. They don't tell you that. And God told me, in this text, we saw in the parallel of the text, it's no faithfulness, but He dealt with me and said, because of your faithfulness, I'm still going to do it. Yeah. Woo! He's the only son that I know. And I'm not going to let the devil snatch him out and take his life. In the paper the other day in Waco, out of the news, they had a young man that was pushed off the bridge, honey. Pushed off the bridge. He was pushed off the bridge in Waco. And I hadn't heard from my son. I started asking my honey, well, what was his race? Was he black? How old was he? I began to get scared because the devil got me believing that he's going to snatch my son and kill my son before he comes across. The devil is a liar. Amen. I refuse to go around and preach to everybody else if my son died over here. I said, God, I believe for everybody else, but help me with my own belief that you want to do. I'm telling y'all, I got a piece about it that something is going to happen. And he's going to come home and he's going to be on his lip end. The Bible says that if I keep his commandments, that he shall deliver my seed. I'm not even worried about my daughter. She's got 3 kids. She's single. I mean, she stays right under me. She knows. You know what I'm saying? Her leash ain't that long. But my son, he got that long leash. He's one of the ones like I was. My leash is long. I didn't stay close. I wasn't. My daughter, she got sense enough to stay close. But my son, he's a boy. And because of the generations, we have to understand genealogy and the generations, the generational curses that has been on his father's side, his biological father's side, and the generations and the curses that is on my side. That's what's working with me. Every brother and everybody, all of me and my siblings have all been to the penitentiary. Every last one of us. Y'all know my story. I've talked to y'all about it. Y'all know. I've been to the penitentiary 3 times. Y'all know that about me. I've been delivered and set free. I've been preaching 20 years, but that happened before that. Y'all know my story. I was on drugs. Every last one of my brothers and sisters have been on drugs. Praise God, he brought me out. Yeah. But I told God, it's going to stop with my children. My son is not going to the penitentiary. My daughter is not going to the penitentiary. And they're not going to die on drugs out there. I'm going around watching everybody else's children be set free and delivered. He's going to deliver and set my children free. And God gave me a peace about it. I'm telling you, once I finally settled my spirit, I went to sleep. I kind of felt rested, but I felt a little tired. As I told my husband, I'm not going to preach today. I got a peace about it that God is going to do something with my boy. Amen. And some of you out there, you got some stuff that you told God, I believe for everybody else, but I need you to do it for me. He told me to tell you this grace just stepped in. And you're going to come and you're going to testify. By December the 31st, I'm looking for my son to come home and say, Mama, I'm tired. You didn't train me this way, you didn't teach me this way, and you didn't live this way in front of me. I put the word in my son, I put God's presence in his life, and he has watched me and my husband live this life for the last 20 years. He ain't got no choice but to come out. And when he come out, he coming out as pure gold. And I'm looking for him to preach this gospel. Whether he preaching through music, whether he preaching, I don't care how he preaching, he gonna preach this gospel. Stand to give me good blessing. I love my son. I only got 2 children. 1 boy, 1 girl. I have 3 grandchildren. Spirit of the living God, I thank you. I thank you for everything that has been said and done in this place today, Lord. I pray that this word does not fall among the thickets or the thorns, but God, it goes out to do that you sent it to do. Now, God, I thank you that your grace and your mercy is sufficient in our life. And God, even in our pressing, you're still going to do what you said you're going to do anyway. I pray by December the 31st that they would flood this house with the testimonies that shall come forth behind this word that has been spoken today, Father. Now, Father, as we depart from this place, never from your presence, watch over us until the appointed time. for us to be here again in Jesus' name. I render the service back into the hands of the pastor. Amen. Come on.
Thank you. Well, that's on my faith. If you don't take balance, see you. Hallelujah. Tonight we're going to have a preach-a-thon at 6 o'clock. That means if you got a word or song, a dance, anything, you can come and present to all of us tonight at 6 o'clock. And go ahead and bring some snacks, food, drinks. We'll have fellowship and have a good time tonight. And thank you again, Prophetess, for coming today. Thank you.